I got a comment in one of my videos asking about how to know where your opponent's about to hit the ball. And in this video, we're going to focus on where they are likely to hit it when you're at the kitchen, because that's when you have the least amount of time to react. One of the most important shots to be ready for is the third shot drive. So let's pretend your partner just gave a short return. They kind of sat up for your opponent and they're coming in to drive this ball. These are kind of the most likely angles for your opponent to hit this ball. So if you're cross court from them, you need to help protect the middle here. And you might even want to protect it so much that you're kind of cheating your paddle to this side of your body. This person, your partner, they need to protect both their body and the sideline. So these are the very common angles for your opponent to drive the ball. So they're oftentimes going to go middle. I see a lot of people where in this case they protect this sideline too much. And this ball, if they hit it hard, this is going out. Look at this angle. This angle gets really sharp the farther they go wide on this ball. And again, if they're hitting it hard, their angles they want to go are like this way and this way. Maybe they'll go more at this person's body, but your partner, they're going to be helping protect the sideline and their body. They're going to also help protect as far middle as they can, or at least they should. And your responsibility here in this case is to help protect the middle and outside of wherever your partner's bubble is. So their bubble should be protecting the sideline and as far middle as they can. Even though it's their backhand, again, if they're right-handed, you're trying to help protect that or just past that. So if they reach out here, your job is to help them without colliding into their paddle. So maybe help just a little bit behind their paddle where they could reach. But again, where we're expecting our opponents to hit this ball is kind of like this. This is the lower part of the net, and it's a pretty long part of the court. But again, just don't overprotect this sideline when your opponent's coming in here to hit a hard drive, because this ball, even that ball, we need to be letting go out a lot of times. So if they hit it to my outside shoulder here hard, I'm actually trying to not hit it a lot of times so that it will naturally go out of bounds. But if you're overprotecting this sideline here, you're going to naturally hit some of these balls that would go 2 to 5 feet out of bounds. Now let's say the person in front of you is hitting the ball. Again, we have these similar angles. They're stepping in to hit a hard drive. They're wanting to go more here. But in this case, you're going to have to protect your body more and help with the middle ball as much as you can when they're attacking you here. And we're going to talk mostly in this video about fast balls, so balls that are being attacked on. We're not going to spend so much time talking about drop shots and dinks here, because it's pretty easy to get to a dink or a slow ball like a drop when you're ready for a fastball, but it's really hard to get ready for a fastball when you're ready for a slow ball. So I'm almost always thinking, where is my opponent likely to attack me? And that's where my paddle and my body and mind are thinking and trying to be. Now let's have another common scenario where the person in front of us is dinking. They're likely going to be dinking with our partner here. But again, what we're ready for is their speed up, their attack. So it's easy for you to fall asleep when your partner and your opponent in front of you are dinking here. Really try not to fall asleep when your opponent's dinking. You need to be ready for this ball coming fast at you. And another thing to think about when your partner is hitting to your opponent, and you're expecting that speed up down the line, this angle, the lower your opponent's contacting this ball, the higher they have to hit it. So my ready position might even be at my shoulders or chest and shoulders when this ball is being contacted low. Now again, they are probably going to dink this ball when it's that low, but I need to be ready for when they do speed it up at me so that I can counterattack it. The higher they're contacting the ball, obviously the more straight and even down at some point. If they're contacting it really high, the more down they can hit. So in that case, I would need to even step back if I notice it, or just be ready to try to defend my body and maybe my waist and upper legs more when it's about here. Another thing to think about, let's pretend that our partner and our opponent across from us are in the dink rally again. The more out in front of my opponent they're hitting this ball, the more likely it is going to come cross court, unless they really kind of turn their paddle and show me that they're coming at my body. The more this ball gets to the side or behind them, the more this angle comes like this. So this is going to be more of their angle, either dink it maybe here, dink it here, or try to speed it up here as they get their body turn to the sideline and they're reaching behind them. The more they reach behind them, again, the more their angles are narrow. The more they're hitting out in front of them, the more their angles are wider. So these would be more of the angles that I'm expecting them to hit when the ball is in front of them. And as the ball is behind them, these are more of the angles that I'm expecting them to hit. And the farther this ball gets back, so if you want to pre-jump an Ernie, this is a great time to do it when your opponent reaches back and is kind of looking back at the ball here. And you can jump that, and then your partner would fill in to help, again, protect these angles here. These concepts are why you'll see the pros kind of squeeze middle here. So let's pretend this ball is low and in front of our opponent. Again, this is the angle that is very likely. It's really hard to speed that up and get it over this high part of the net and not go out of bounds. So that's why you'll see a lot of pros squeeze this when their partner's dinking here so that they can come speed up a ball at this if this ball is left too high. But just beware when this ball is a little bit higher, these angles open up and you can't cheat as much. So again, when I'm playing this position and my partners are going with my opponent here, I'm constantly going farther or staying more home based on how high this ball is and how much in front or behind them they're contacting it. I'm also reading their paddle position to kind of help me know whether they're about to go here or maybe speed it up at me, at my body or at my shoulder or in between us. Another thing you'll need to be ready for when you're at the kitchen and your opponents are hitting at the kitchen is when your opponent diagonal of you, cross court of you, is about to hit a speed up at your partner or at their inside hip. So let's look at that. So now let's say you're dinking with your opponent here cross court, and this time you dinked a ball that kind of sat up, and you see this person kind of opening up their paddle, and it looks like they're about to attack. When they're about to attack, their angles, again, depending on how low or high it is more middle. So they're either trying to go at your partner or middle here mostly, because again, if they hit it at this angle, this is going to go out so often. So they're trying to get this ball and this ball. So what do you need to be ready for? You need to be ready for this inside ball. And back to that kind of bubble thing, your partner is trying to deal with as much as they can. They have to really respect the sideline when this ball sits up enough. And they also have to protect their body. So they might be favoring this side of their body with their paddle, which means you might have to move and reach over here to help protect them when you sense that this person's about to speed up. This gets a little complicated because then obviously they could dink it here. But again, you're trying to not only read where the ball is, but read the paddle of your opponent. Oftentimes, it's really good to try to guess at where your opponent's about to hit the ball. Even if you guess wrong, guessing in pickleball, particularly as you get closer and closer with your opponents, it's more beneficial for most players to guess than to just be ready for everything and then basically be late to everything. So I tell people that if you're not quite sure where your opponents are going to go, one, start thinking about your ready position and being ready for your opponent's attacks, and then you'll start learning over time where they're going to attack. And this is helpful because once you start thinking about where's my opponent likely going to hit it, you'll quickly start noticing patterns. Like, for example, that guy in the red shirt over there, every time he hits shot X from this part of the court, it's going to my backhand. Or every time he reaches in, he's flicking it instead of dinking it. Well, if he does the same shot 3 or 4 times in a row, be ready for the 5th one. Another thing we'll talk about is what I call awkward balls. One of the most common awkward balls is when your opponent hits a third shot. Let's say they hit a third shot from back here, and then let's say they hit a hard drive at you, and then you gave them a short volley that's kind of sitting here. They're running forward to get this ball. They're reaching forward low, and they're about to either reset it or hit it fast at you. Now again, you don't really need to be ready for the reset because you'll have plenty of time. You could literally probably be laying down and get to a reset. But if they come in here and then slap it up at you, you need to be ready to either A, slap it back at their feet, or B, let it go if they overslap it. So that's why you'll see me and others will almost just be kind of sitting up here when our opponents are reaching for the ball like that and kind of flicking it up at us. We'll sit there just to smack it back at their feet or their body, or be prepared to let it go if they overhit it. But too often I see over and over this player running in, reaching down and forward, slapping this up at their, let's say, their chest and shoulders, and their paddle is down here at their legs. So their paddle is down here, but the ball is coming up like this, and then their paddle comes and pushes the ball up, and then they get slammed. This happens so much, and it's just resolved by knowing, hey, this person, every time they're running forward and slapping it, it's coming up. Let's put our paddle here and then slap it back at them. So it's a lot of simple things like that when you're trying to figure out where your opponent's about to hit the ball. This will help you be prepared for their attacks, and it'll almost seem like your paddle is just in the right position. When you start thinking about where is my opponent about to attack me in this shot, you'll position better, your paddle will be in a better position, you'll start feeling quicker, lots of good stuff happens. But if you're in that kind of old school mindset of, oh, I'm going to be in this spot, in the middle half of my half, and my paddle's going to be right up here every shot and just hoping you get to whatever they hit, you're going to feel miserable and slow trying to get to those balls. So really start trying to think about where's my opponent likely to hit and proactively get ready for that. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and thanks for the suggestion for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.